well, there's no problem. If you had a gun, shoot him in the head.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, honey. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Episode 5.
Whoa.
So yeah, we're like over a month into this already.
In a new spot?
Yes, a new look. So we're sharing a camera. I have one and you have one. So
Yay.
trying to bring things up a little bit, just production value. It'd be a little bit more work on my end, but I think it'll look a lot better here.
Yeah, I'll appreciate it. I think it looks really nice.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a comment that I think we both kind of received, that it'd be nice. It's really nice that we're putting it on YouTube and there's a video format of it, but to kind of have that, more personable feel, and really the only way to do it is to just have the multicam. And
Yeah.
I do like the wide look too, just
So
to
do
kind
I.
of show off the entire thing, but that we can kind of cut back and forth, and it's much more engaging that way, and it'll look much better too, and kind of like, hey, these guys know what they're doing.
Yeah,
So
hopefully.
No,
Welcome to my living room.
yeah, I mean that's where we've been doing it, but we just kind of repositioned and
Yeah.
utilizing our entertainment system for some different forms of entertainment.
Whoa. All right.
So no, it'll look good. We got some better lighting, and then rolling with a few different cameras will definitely help make things look better.
Yeah,
But
it's exciting.
I know we kind of left off, last episode was a little bit more just all about me and my Arkansas trip.
That's okay.
And then, of course, we got cut off with Avery again.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of becoming the norm. And I know we got people out there that think it's pretty funny. So we're just going to kind of roll with it. And we're actually kind of off and running a little bit earlier with this one. So we'll see if we make it that long. But she's been waking up a lot earlier lately.
Ugh.
So we might be a half hour into this thing and she's already telling us to get done.
Yeah, what time was it yesterday? Like 6:15?
Yeah,
She
it
was
was
screaming
early.
at me.
I don't understand, but we had to put her down last night. The previous couple nights, she's fell asleep on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a definite factor. But let's dive into. I know it was a topic that we didn't really get to as much, but something that you've been really enjoying lately, and a lot, honestly, on your own, is some ice fishing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we talk ice fishing for a little bit? It's been fun. Now that you can drive on the ice, it's so much more convenient. Trekking through the snow, yeah, I'll do it, but this is nice. Drive right up to your spot, set up.
Especially having Avery.
Yeah. I've went a couple times with Avery and then a couple times alone. I don't know. But either way, it's been really fun. I've been going on a lake close to home and having a blast with tip downs.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, another core memory from childhood is chasing those around. And I haven't used them in years until we went down by Dory and Jimmy. And I was like, oh my gosh, we got to get some of these. And honestly, I didn't even know if I was going to catch anything out there. I just thought I'd try. I don't remember when it was. I walked out there and caught a few crappie, and I was like, I have to go back with the tip downs and just see what happens. And man, it was fun, amazing chaos. I had no time. Constant tip downs.
Mm-hmm.
Every line out of the water at once by myself, wishing I had people with me.
Yeah, and I'm borderline wishing I was there, because I feel like I have a lot to do right now, and yeah, I need to prioritize spending time with you and when you have Avery and stuff with, but it's also kind of a convenience factor that I don't feel like I'm neglecting you guys if I'm downstairs editing it.
No, and
So it kind of allows you to just step out and still enjoy things and do things rather than sitting here in a home.
Feeling like, well, Jeremy doesn't want to go, so I'm not going to. But no, I've been having a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we have actually our local derby this weekend that I think we're going to dip our toes in and see how we
Why
can do.
not?
I know there's some stuff with the fire department that I'll probably help out with. We're doing a brat fry and different stuff at the boat landing as well.
I know. I was kind of thinking through this and haven't really said it out loud yet, but I'm going to have to get out there really early and get set up for a spot. I'm talking like before Avery even wakes up, get out there, put the pop-up up.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's something that I can do the night before.
I mean, you could. It's just we don't have a permanent shack that would be out there.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, I know the general area. I mean, we were out there together a couple times. I could always just run out and do it too, so it saves you the headache. And but we'll figure it out. I think I don't know what everybody else's plans are.
Who's everybody else?
I'm sure Jaden's gonna want to do some fishing.
Jaden said he's got to do a lot with the fire department, but he's hoping to get out for a couple minutes.
Yeah, so I'll probably float back and forth too as well a little bit, unless if there's a bunch of help, then I probably won't worry about it too much.
Yeah.
And then I know my Uncle Randy had mentioned he reached out to me yesterday if we were going to fish it.
Oh, really?
So he said he would like to, and if that's where we were going to go, then just to let him know that he would sign up on his way back home because he's out of town for the week.
Yeah, we'll have to do that on Friday. I forgot about that. We'll have to go down and sign up.
And I know they have some like festivities and stuff going on Friday there, but
I'm not a huge bar person, but I'll go if I have some nice fish to register.
yeah, and I know honestly previous years like a good bulk of our ice fishing stuff has come from that derby.
I know, we've won a lot of stuff.
We won so I don't know if we actually won because of a fish. I know we caught some nice fish.
It was the raffles, I think.
So I think it was the punch board, but didn't you win with your northern?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the second or third year we were together.
Well, and I also don't want to fish this tournament alone because I want as many lines in as we can. Like 3 is not enough. If I gotta have my mom come up or something, but I want to put tip ups in for northern because I think there's some nice northern in there. No?
Yeah, I mean, I know in years past that's what it was. It was always nice northern, but we also had nice panfish, and then we had a nasty freeze out when I was a kid, and then they've been messing around with aerators, like up to the point where they've had 2 of them running at times out here.
Where was the other one at?
It was more into the bay, which has always, where we've fished in the past, was a lot more towards that shoreline into the bay. And then they put the other aerator in there, but I don't know if they did last year, but I know this year they didn't. It's only just the one. So I don't know what their thought processes are on doing those. I know it's kind of a lake association deal, but we've just historically have dealt with some, freeze outs, and it's a combination. It's not a depth thing. It's just the lake is so choked out with weeds, and
on the south end, right?
Well, I mean, if you cross over the point to the south end, like, good luck fishing anything.
Yeah.
It's weeds poking through the surface the entire way. It's also quite shallow and just mucky and nasty. And there's actually, apparently somebody did a survey. I don't know if it's true or not, that, a good bulk of the sediment that's in the majority of the south end is actually sawdust from the old sawmill.
Oh my gosh.
So, which would kind of make sense of just the structure, and then I'm sure that would really flourish weed growth and stuff because that's just going to decompose. And
for sure.
But I think it's more so just we just struggle with weeds so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point, it's not even an enjoyable place to go swim. It's fine for Avery to go wade around, but if you go to the dock and jump off, you're up to your head.
Can't the Lake Association do something about that?
I think it just costs so much money. So I'm sure they were probably applying for grants and seeing if they can't get some assistance and do some things. I mean, I wish they would. As a kid, I remember the majority of the shorelines were all real nice sandy. The beach was relatively nice. We could swim out a ways. The people on jet skis.
Now I won't even go out over my thighs at the beach.
And it's, to be honest, it's like a lot of our lakes around here. It's either they've overbloomed in weeds or we've lost weeds.
Yeah, I mean, look at Matonga.
There's just hardly anything out there anymore. There's very specific spots, and it was
but barely any growth.
It was not uncommon to catch mid 40-inch northern out on Matanga, and the last several years we're lucky if we catch one.
I know, it is weird.
So I mean, they just obviously they're probably pushing more towards shore and stuff, but
Yeah.
it seems it gets getting better because we found some decent places that we were catching some perch in that last summer.
Yeah.
And, but no, I mean it's just kind of the Northwoods. It's either you have really committed people that live on the lake or are part of the lake association, way it is, that really commit to wanting to have the best fishery that there possibly can be, and then there's places in some that just, they don't have the budget, they don't have the people, they don't have the help.
And
They
it
don't,
is what it is.
they don't have how many people a part of these associations, aside of from making sure their lakeshore looks really good, are actually into it for recreational purposes as far as fishing. The majority of them probably have a pontoon or something and they enjoy getting out and doing that. So it's like, yeah, they want it to look pretty decent. But I feel like a lot of them, it's a tax purpose thing and making sure their frontage looks nice and there's, the erosion and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
so it's, either you're trying to take and focus on the public as well. So I do feel like it takes, very specific people that are committed to wanting to do that. And
For sure.
you know where it's good and you know where it's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you get over on the Three Lakes chain or the river chain and stuff, and it's just pristine wherever you go.
Oh, yeah.
The fishing's pretty solid consistently, and some of them lakes over there, but that's where the money flows.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
So you kind of
They
get
have the money to put into it.
these smaller communities. I think struggle naturally a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, it seems like a lot of lakes around here struggle.
Mm-hmm.
We go through spurts where it's really, really good fishing. I mean, like when we got together and we were just fishing out of kayaks, we went to Fay Lake and we're
It was crazy.
filling stringers of, 13, 14-inch crappie and 10-inch bluegill.
Yeah.
And now the last couple of years we go out there and try to find the crappie, and I mean we find them, but they're just not the
They're
quality.
tiny. Yeah.
You really got to work for the nice ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On that note, kind of circling back to the ice fishing, I've been going in the evenings.
Yeah, now something I was going to mention is we're going to have to see what the timeline is for the Derby.
I believe it's like 7 to 3. So that was the point I was going to make, was I've been going at 3:30 until 5:30.
Gonna
And so
have to make sure you fish that early window.
that really early window, you're going to have to be there before light, I think. Because the biggest crappie that I caught was way after dark. So I have no idea what they're going to do in the morning. I don't know how they're, I mean, I know people have success, but out there, we just haven't fished the mornings.
Yep.
But then, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the best fishing isn't even going to happen before the Derby's over, which is typical, I know, but we'll see.
And per usual, I feel like for most Wisconsin derbies,
Yeah.
kind of just turns into a drunk fest for the majority of people.
Yep.
And a lot of the people that win, they just throw tip ups out and whatever they catch, they catch.
Oh, yeah.
I know there's been some decent quality fish caught in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
There's people catching decent perch and bluegill and crappie, and
Yeah.
so I mean we'll definitely give it a shot. I mean, why wouldn't we? There's not really much else to do. I know I mentioned to you I'd love to get on our boards at some point this winter, but kind of struggling with some natural snow. We like to kind of get into the trees and stuff, and staying on the grooms all day is not really our cup of tea. But
No.
we might have to travel a little bit north. It'd be nice to at least, because I don't think we didn't get out at all last year. Then that's something else that you got me into that I really, really enjoy doing. I don't know, just something different that, I mean, sure, it's kind of expensive, but we have everything we need and really nice boards and everything, and it's nice to kind of get out and just cruise around. It's a different form of relaxation
Good
for us.
exercise, too.
Yeah, that too, if you're on your ass more than your feet.
Well,
But
even if you're not busting through the trees, you get sore.
yeah, especially the first couple times out, for sure.
Yeah,
but-
we used to really enjoy that. We did that a lot for a few years.
Yeah, and honestly now we're in the last week of January, which is insane that we're a month through the year already. But then when we look ahead at our schedule, like it's fishing NWTF, and then come back is going to push us, pretty much right into March.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's kind of what our life has been lately, is fishing and grinding with work, and trying to just be prepared. And I know for the both of us personally, it's been a bit of a grind. You've been losing pretty consistent clientele, and it's been somewhat of a struggle for me to find new ones and continue to grow my business. And real estate's been super slow, which is just that time of year.
It's picking up.
I don't know if we touched upon it last episode or not, but I feel like these slow spurts always go hand in hand with this time of the year.
Oh, yeah.
And specifically for me, you roll into December, a lot of companies and businesses are eager to close their books.
Mm-hmm.
And with it being the last month of the year, I mean, if they have an allotment for, a budget for marketing and media, it's probably set in stone that it's already they've probably utilized it. Otherwise, they have projects, they have things planned that already probably tie that up, And then it's moving into the new year. I mean, they're already having budget talks and stuff to round out last year, but now it's to implement everything, get everybody on board, new year, roll into it. That, trying to get with those companies, it's one of those things where you need to be consistent, I think, moving into the year already with somebody. That you're already on their radar.
At what point throughout the year are they going to have that need that they need to have filled? Are people thinking, well, we'll start to reach out to people in July?
Well, and it's also becoming the norm.
Season starts in September.
Yeah, but I'm even talking just aside from waterfall stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it a lot with fishing. Some of the stuff I did in the summer and talking to some of those brands, their budget is, pretty strange how they, working for a company that I did some stuff for, they're relatively decent in the summer fishing, kind of spurt and line of things with their, their rain suits and some of their apparel and stuff. But then they're really well known for their ice fishing stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a balancing act of what they do, because they've already have a pretty decent foothold within the ice fishing community. And it seems like they're putting a ton of effort into their, more of their warmer months.
Yeah.
And their sun gear, their rain gear, that kind of stuff. So you get those companies too where it's we're going to rely on, our quote unquote influencers or our pro staff that we have to do some promotion for us that way. It's part of their contract.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to utilize that for the months that we necessarily don't need to do a whole lot of marketing and promotion for things that already have a foothold.
For sure.
And let's put our energy and focus on things that we're trying to grow. And those months are long gone.
Yep.
And we still have a few more months until we get into them. And then that's for our local area, and they're really starting to spread, more, to the West Coast and down south and stuff. So they start pushing money and funneling things to different markets and different areas that they're trying to, claim some of the market.
Yeah.
So it's been an interesting journey to kind of, be on those back end conversations of, what people are doing and get, that inside scoop on things. And it's a benefit for me, I think, coming from a business and already kind of having,
you have
wherewithal of,
mm-hmm.
just understanding that to a certain degree already
mm-hmm.
has allowed me to kind of connect with some of these companies on that sort of a front.
Just understanding.
Mm-hmm. Rather than just hey, well, what do you got? Give me some work. It's kind of a, where can I fit? How can I help you?
Yeah.
Where do I see that you're lacking, or, what are some necessary things that, you need to do to try to, elevate your presence, or, improve your marketing, or just, there's been some people I've talked to have just to be honest, just improving your overall quality.
Quality is huge for everybody right now. They're seeing what you can produce.
And I'm really happy to see that. I do feel like the trend is shifting a little bit, because we went through that period, and you can probably point the finger towards COVID and everybody just being at home, and then everybody's budgets being tightened, and
mm-hmm.
people losing jobs and stuff, and it's what do we do? What do we do when you hear everybody just start with your phone? Just start with your phone.
That's fine.
And it's great, and it's given the ability and a lot of people the ability to really grow and prosper. And now you're starting to see a lot of that lower quality. Um, I'm talking like on the higher end kind of things, a little bit more of that lower quality and less. Um, Trying to think of the word. Like they're not really putting a ton of effort into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you get the people that shoot some content on phones and it looks like holy shit, you shot that on your iPhone?
Yeah, really good.
You know, they have good editing skills and
They
you
know
know
what
I mean?
settings to use.
Yeah, they know the settings. They're, using filters. They're doing what they need to do to like make it look good and pleasant, adding captions and doing some cool editing, with it and different things that way where, you know, a lot of people you need to really stand out different to just throw your phone in your face and be a personality that can really,
Mm-hmm.
hit the waves and take off and run with it. Um, there's actually that kid that we always laugh
my
at with ice
gosh.
fishing. He's an example. He's just a personality.
Mm-hmm.
He's a funny kid, and
He doesn't have fancy cameras out there.
no.
I don't think. I think he's starting to.
Yeah, I think the majority of it's like a phone, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just a straight clip, and he throws it up there, and he literally just throws like hashtag fishing, and away he goes with it, and he's over 100,000 followers, and very
Yeah.
very quick. And you know
It's all about standing out that in different ways.
yep, and from my standpoint, I feel like it's starting to become a little bit better. That I'm seeing a little bit more of that recognition of actually putting things together because there was that period of like why would I invest all this money and time into all this fancy gear when I could do the same thing on my phone.
I know, and it's right at your fingertips. You always have it. You don't have to lug around a big backpack.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can understand.
And we feel it and know it as well, that we've honestly like have put stuff on social media before and it's like I just put it together on my phone. Like this is literally just a clip from my phone that I took it out of my pocket and filmed it and it takes off too.
I know.
So it is kind of weird, which is fine. But I'm happy to see that I feel like people are starting to appreciate production. I even had a company reach out to me, somewhat of a local company, which I'm excited about. I'm gonna go sit down and meet with them
I'm so excited. This is gonna be a good
for
one.
Tuesday, and it kind of crosses over. And the little bit of emailing that we did back and forth, I already kind of mentioned to him that there's a cool crossover there because they're in the kind of the contracting industry. So they do a ton of interior and exterior, like fine art, I will call it almost. So it's a lot of like very elegant timber work, fireplace handrails. I mean, they do full blown cabinets and stuff, but it's like high end, wood and timber work is a lot of it. Mantles, and I think they even do some like countertops and different stuff, but it's like very elegant, very classy, like that, rustic, really cool stuff. And they work with several contractors. They just specialize in producing these products. These contractors reach them out and like, hey, we want to do an archway that's made out of timbers. We want to do a custom handrail. We want to do a custom mantle. We want to do a custom door. We want to,
Yeah.
and that's like, okay, and they generally make several pieces for a home. So it's kind of cool, and I mentioned it to him that like it's super appealing and like super cool that he reached out to me, and this is one of those things that doing previous work, and it's
Do
taken
you
a
know
while.
him? Is this from Andrew and Ashley?
So I know of them. I know who they are. I don't know this gentleman specifically, but that's where they saw my work was the
Was
stuff that
through
I've done
them.
through with Andrew and Ashley at Lakeshore
And to think like how much better you've gotten.
and I told him that I said, well, good news. I said can confidently say that my quality of work is definitely elevated since then. Because and I think I mentioned it in a previous episode of they were some of the people to jump on board to give me my first like paid gig.
She was so sweet about it. She's like, we'd love to.
Yeah, and it was. So I actually worked in the woods for her father. That was the last person that I contracted for. So that was just a natural thing that I think it got out there that I was switching and doing that kind of a thing, and it appealed to them to want to elevate and do their marketing, and it just kind of goes with the business and being a local business trying to stand out.
Believe If I remember right, you dealt with her when it come to payment and things from him as well, right?
She
Did
helped out.
she
Well,
do some books?
yeah, she helped out a lot with like books and stuff that way. So I mean, I knew Andrew or I knew Ashley previous to that,
Right.
and then it was just kind of that natural transition to help, which was great. So it's been basic things of just taking some photography of a finished home for
Yeah.
them to put on their website to being on a job site and like I think the first like real like full day of work I had was their trust setting day.
Yeah.
And then I went back and actually did some work for them when they were putting some timbers up, which came from this Enterprise Wood Products. And but yeah, it was just that cool crossover. And I mentioned to him that I have it's specifically appealing to me because I do have that background with owning a logging company and having that transition to be able to kind of feel like I already have a bit of wherewithal and knowledge within that industry.
Yeah.
Even though it's a little bit different, it's more from the mill side of things, which like
Well, you're familiar.
yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I worked in a mill a little bit, so it's even that, but so some cool and exciting opportunities there, and I think they have a decent Facebook presence, so they like to have content for that, and I think this is where I can really step in because he had somebody else doing some stuff, and it sounds like it was a woman, but now she's got quite a few other obligations that she's hard to fit them in. So they must be kind of sporadic. So that's gonna be a conversation to definitely have with them of let's set something up that hopefully we can do something like once a month, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Because ideally that's kind of where I want to land, and I'm pushing that direction with a few other people too of just having that retainer and it being somewhat consistent to know
Of
that I'm going to
course.
have, basically for the next 6 months or the next year, like every month I have these dates for you.
Yeah.
Or at least a shoot that I know and several months in advance. It's like actually narrow it down to when you would like to do it and try to have
Planning
some
is so
specifics.
important.
And we touched on some other companies that will be doing that, and some of it's more seasonal just because it's kind of duck hunting related, and real estate kind of comes and goes, but that with Mike, that's going to pick up and it'll definitely be better. And we've had some really good conversations there of kind of going that route too of and it kind of collides a little bit with the conversation I was having or that I brought up earlier of just the way businesses have been struggling. And even so, like Mike, with actually having his own company and being the broker and an agent and everything there, but having everybody working under him in a sense, it's been a particular struggle this last year and a half because nobody was buying, nobody was selling.
There's struggle on every level.
But I mean, honestly, we've already seen it now. I just noticed like the 2 listings that I went and did for him, like they're both sold
Good.
within days.
Great.
You know what I mean? So things are starting to move, things are starting to pick up.
Yeah.
Which is super good for him because I know he needs it. And having the conversations we've had, it's been a struggle. So it's just kind of coincides and goes hand in hand. And but just that's another one I think in a company like that I'm really looking forward to because I feel like there can be work all forms.
Oh yeah. There's so many angles to come at.
All 12 months of the year. And I think it's also given me a little bit of ambition to kind of chase and run after a few different companies.
Yeah.
I need to inquire with a couple different ones that kind of mingle within that industry, and me having a background I think could be a great fit.
When it comes to Mike, there's so many different avenues. He's not just in real estate. Like you've been in the fishing boat how many times? Hunting. I mean, it's opened up some opportunities for us to get back into archery hunting. I mean, it's not just the acreage that he's doing. You've been kind of all over the place with him, and I think that's why it can be year round.
Yeah, and it is, and it's just, again, it's being able to, for me, I have that understanding of the business side of things that he needs to be able to, have the budget for it. And it's not necessarily something that you can just fly by the seat of your pants and here's what I want to do and do this and do that and do this, and all of a sudden you close the books and it's like, what the hell was I doing this year? I can't afford to keep doing this.
No.
So he does have that understanding, and he's been at it for a very long time, and it's also been it's been really good working with him because he also has like 20 years of camera experience. So he went down the road that I'm on now already.
Yeah.
Filmed a bunch of TV shows and was, primarily majority of it was hunting and a fair bit of fishing as well. And it just, kind of led to the real estate, and, he's got a very good niche driven business over there, and, he sponsors some different fishing athletes and stuff like that. So it's been nice, and he's got some really cool connections, and, to be able to do that kind of stuff, and then to, to promote the local areas and doing that kind of stuff. So like you said, I was up to Vermilion with him. I ran around on the river, in that Pepin, Red Wing area in the Mississippi, chasing a walleye tour for a full week, and did some stuff on the bay, was the Sturgeon Bay Open, but then going to Missouri and doing food plot stuff and a bunch of food plot stuff around,
yeah, I forgot about that.
just around somewhat locally to, obviously all the real estate shoots, and then highlighting some of the towns, and that's a conversation that we've been having too, of just elevating that kind of content even.
Yeah.
And putting a little bit more forethought into some of the listing videos and stuff, especially the nicer ones. Just to highlight the local area, because it's like there's one thing to draw somebody's attention to a nice home.
For sure.
But then when you suck them in to actually wanting to bite the bullet and take a look, they might love the home, but they might hate the area. Mm-hmm. And which is good and bad. It's like you want traffic, you want people to take a look at it. Give me an opportunity to kind of convince you why this is right for you.
Well, right. And
but it can also be a waste of time. You know what I mean? And knowing that, specifically real estate, when it's really good, like, you don't have a lot of time.
No.
When you're 4 or 5 days a week, back to back to back to showings, that you're getting these people that are reaching out that want to go take a look at it, and they walk in and they walk out and they're like, yeah, this isn't for us. It's just like, I get it, that home buying experience. Like, I can understand that.
Yeah.
And luckily for him, a lot of it's not necessarily homes per se. It's hunting properties and, vacant lots and, lakefront stuff. And he's starting to get a little bit more into the residential stuff as well. But
I wish that more of the real estate side of it would focus on the area, because I think if I was serious about wanting to move and buying a new place, I would find those videos so beneficial of like, yeah, this is actually a place I want to be. This is actually the area that I enjoy, and being able to see it instead of, look how many people are purchasing properties without ever even stepping on them. Like, to be able to see that through a video and kind of feel like you know where you are, that would be huge. I wish it would get more like that.
Yeah, and when you look at it too, so like, you could put it, put ourselves in that shoe of just, okay, we're wanting to move. We automatically already have a handful of areas that we would look.
I know.
So I feel like the majority of people probably fall in line with that. They get
I don't know if people travel like we do, but
yeah, maybe not necessarily, but I think, there's probably certain areas that probably appeal to people, or like certain like regions. All right, let's do our research.
Right. And
let's see what's, for sale within 50, 60 miles of this certain area, and then let's,
my grandparents used to live in northern Wisconsin up by Minocqua. Let's see what's up there. Even if they're not familiar with it. But the video that you put together the other day for Amy, you did a really good job, like showing it on the map and doing all of that. And I know that this goes back to budget and time and all the things, but if you could have showcased like downtown Eagle River or some of the shops, or like done something, I think that would elevate those listings so much more for people, because I think those are areas that people are buying without seeing.
Yeah, that was a tricky one, because they were super eager to get it on the market, which most sellers are. When they finally bite the bullet to want to move or want to sell, like, all right, we just need to do it. We just need to do it. And I can sympathize a little bit for the seller there. She works from home but has a couple kids, and one was like a newborn, and the husband works on the road. So she was just there basically on her own, and I know from what I kind of overheard within the conversations, like, works from home as well. So I think it was almost again like that. I think it was finally like, okay, I've had enough. We got to get out of here. We got to move.
We have to do this.
She needs the help. She wants to go back by her parents. And with him working on the road, like, it's probably not that big of a deal. And it sounds like the reason for them really moving north was because he was supposed to have like years of work in the UP. So to kind of get close to the border and have, be in a nice little area, and they're on like almost 10 acres there, and like it was a cool little hobby setup. Like they got a chicken coop and a huge garden, and he was hunting and shot some nice deer on the property and stuff. And, so it was, I think, almost a last minute deal because like the house wasn't really
Let's
that
get it
organized.
quick. Yeah.
And that's the hard thing with real estate, and even being the agent as well, is like you're trying to communicate that with the client of here's what I need you to do. And it's like
That's so much work for her.
it is a lot of work for her, but it's also kind of the seller's responsibility in a sense too. And if you don't want to, well then like I have some some people that I could send that I know that I can refer you to have, a professional cleaning done, but then it's like, okay, she needs to leave the home. Or you're having somebody work around. And if I'm trying to get work done, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was just a place. It was honestly really hard to showcase the interior. Because it was decent. Like, the downstairs was studded out and like ready to be finished for a bunch of different rooms and stuff, but it was just storage and like things just everywhere and containers, and like you could tell she was starting to pack. And then
But
having 2 little kids, you know how it is.
on that note, I think, kind of to backtrack, that's where showing off the area would help, because she's got the land, she's got the little hobby farm, she's got the location. Somebody can clean it up really nice and make it a great spot.
Yeah. I mean, that one was just right outside of Phelps, and I feel like anybody looking at particular area kind of knows what Phelps is. It's not a lot to showcase there anymore.
No, but you're kind of in the middle or around the area of a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Eagle River is Eagle River. Like anybody, again, kind of knows that. And I mean, yeah, those are some particular shots that I probably definitely could have added in. But then again, it's how much budget does Amy have for the
Right.
marketing side of things? And I'm more than happy to do that kind of stuff. But we were kind of eager to get to the next listing. To where like if I'd have an entire day kind of where, okay, this is the only shoot I have, like I'll take the extra time.
For sure.
But then it was like the eagerness we had to run all the way over to St. Germain to do some stuff. And because we were waiting on decent lighting, like I wanted the sun to kind of be out for the one that I was going to put the bulk of my focus on. And then by the time we wrapped up there, like it was mid-afternoon, over a half hour, 40-minute run to get to St. Germain, whatever it was, to make sure we get there with decent enough lighting to throw the drone up and everything. Now we had to do a little bit more for, a relisting that she's doing. But so it's just I don't know. I actually I don't know if you saw Sarah reached out on Instagram and was talking about real estate, that she did a shoot and that she was infuriated by the pink wall in the conversation we had with the last one. And so we just a couple messages back and forth on Instagram there, and it's a love-hate relationship. You know what I mean? Because so easily as the media marketing guy goes in, and what my job is supposed to do is just, take stills and video, and like I'm in and out, turns into also I'm staging and I'm cleaning up and I'm reorganizing, and like, okay, this room is an absolute clusterfuck. Like I'm pulling a lot of stuff out and throwing it in the hallway so it's out of the way.
Man.
And then after I'm done taking the stills, like put it back in, and then run out, and I got to do it all again because I got to throw the camera on a gimbal and, walk through and do it that way. And it's just like, all of a sudden, what typically is like an hour and a half shoot turns into 3 hours. And if I have multiple a day, it's like I'm pushing things back and pushing things back. And this time of year, you don't know weather is. Like I ran over and did some stuff for Mike, and it was that situation.
I know.
Like the first shoot went a little bit longer just because the seller was there, and then like we kind of hit it off and start talking.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that he's into, and he's all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's into drone deer recovery, and we're talking about that, and he's wearing an outfitter sweatshirt from Arkansas that I know that like Keegan did a bunch of stuff for last year, and it's like all of a sudden we're a half hour into a conversation. I'm like, shit, I need to get this done because
Small world.
have to go to 3 other listings today, and I get to the last one and it's snowing. Nothing I can do.
Nope.
I had time, and I get there, and it was partially my fault because it was it was in the forecast.
Yeah.
And I should have paid attention to that. And I probably should have just went over an entirely different day. But I know most of them were super eager to get on the, get listed and get going. And, they actually sold the majority of them.
Good.
So that's a great thing. But I don't know. It's a love-hate relationship. There's plenty of months, early on getting into this that it was paying the bills.
Oh, yeah. I think it's still going to
It
consistently in the
still
summer
definitely
months.
can. And that's the tough thing to hear is it's where can it be somewhat exciting and like fun for me to do those kind of things. And I think in order to do that, I wish we had more consistent higher end listings that I could actually have fun
I know.
and really show off the homes and do the nice and like controlled gimbal works and like go buy a slider for this, specific rooms and different things that way and like really show it off, but also elevate the agent because not a lot of people in the area do video work. If anything, it's a little bit of like exterior drone stuff.
Yeah.
Most of it's stills and the bulk and the majority of agents nowadays, they take everything with a damn phone.
I know.
And it's a bummer.
I can only think of like one real estate agent that really does like talk you through the listing, walks through the home with you in the videos, and she's growing very, very quickly and she's doing a really great job. But I feel like it needs to start moving in that direction.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing that can like set an agent apart out there.
Again, be personable.
100%. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know, we're the joys of a podcast. We just kind of go in and out and around and all over.
Yeah,
And
I feel like we just go off on tangents.
yeah. But I feel like we should circle back to we can definitely get it back into the fishing, but we touched on this weekend that we have our derby, but then next weekend it sounds like we're now going away.
Yay.
So you can
I'm so excited.
why don't you talk about what we got going there? I know we'll probably talk about it next week before we actually head out a little bit, but
Yeah. So thank you, Dory. She said she likes when I call her out on the podcast, so there you go. She kind of opened the doors to me having some conversations with Sarah, and we were rightfully invited to go to her house and it's not a tournament, but it's like a friends fishing day over in Hayward, and invited us to stay in her home again.
yeah.
So just, you guys are awesome. It makes it so much easier too. It's not this big extravagant weekend with 3 days in a hotel, and it's just so nice. So we appreciate it so much, but we're looking forward to that. I was kind of leaning on the fence to going by myself, but once they started sending me pictures from years past, like it's all couples and I want you there. Like I want this to be a couples thing, and I'm so glad that we have friends that do everything as couples and we can go over there together. And thank you, Mom, for allowing Avery to come by you for 2 weekends in a row.
I was going to say, this month is going to be a lot of relying, and I know you touched on that.
She's like, I know you appreciate it, but it's like, we appreciate it so much because I really, really wanted to go over there. And I'm really thankful that she was willing to take her. And it's not a full weekend thing. We'll go over Friday night, come back Saturday night. So it's not that far of a drive. 3 hours?
Yeah, just a few. It's not too bad. And really good fisheries over there. So I'm excited to get over that.
I've never fished that area.
I know it's a very, very popular spot for, like, specifically when I think of like walleye and muskie. I know a lot of big muskie guys that like really love that Hayward area.
Yep. I don't think they know what lake we're fishing at. They're kind of gonna see what's biting and what goes on.
See,
but
I don't mind that, to having somebody else have that responsibility and just
you have a hard time making a decision on lakes.
because it's like, okay, I think it's a responsibility thing. I think it's, if we go here, like I'd love to go here, but if our odds aren't that great, or if we go over there and fish, like I'm super excited to go there, and we don't catch anything, it's just like,
yeah.
all right, I'm
I
sorry.
understand.
Like, maybe should we go somewhere else? Are you okay?
I
Like,
just take it so much more relaxed than that. Like, I was just talking to Dad. I don't have much quit in me when it comes to fishing. Like, even if we're not catching, I'm like, they're going to bite in a half hour. They're going to bite before dark. They're going to bite after dark. Like, I don't have quit.
do they ever bite?
Sometimes. Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes it's worth it. But just trying new lakes, like going out here. Like you've kind of been like, it froze out when I was a kid and it's not very good fishing and the fish aren't very big. And it's like, I don't care. Like I had a freaking blast with tip downs. And what did I catch? Like 2 really nice crappie. But I had so much fun and I don't care. And I'm just so much more lighthearted about it. It's like, let's try a new spot. If we catch a bunch of little fish, who cares? Like I'm, I don't know. For some reason, I'm not like big fish or go home. I'm just like, if I'm catching fish, I'm happy. I'm outside. And that's how I am with duck hunting too. Like, even if we're just outside and they're not finishing and we're watching ducks, like, I feel like I'm easy to please in that sense. So yeah, I was just telling Dad, like, man, I don't know. You didn't give me any quit when it comes to this.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
And that's
haven't.
where I vary when it comes to ice fishing and it comes to fishing in the summer. Because obviously within a boat, like you can just look at your graph and okay, like we just tried this. Let's go try a different end of the lake and see if the
I
temperature's
know.
different, the sun's hitting it different. We can try some different depths. Like
In a
you have
boat is different.
you have the ability to just move around. So like I don't have a problem per se then to like stay on the same body of water. Having all the graphs and the electronics and stuff, like you can find fish and now it's just up to you to try to figure them out.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? To where like ice fishing, it's just like it's kind of a crapshoot, and you're just chasing and
Unless
drilling
you have a live
holes.
scope.
Yeah, but even with that,
Just to help locate.
yeah, but then it's let's get over top of them, and the majority of the time, in a lot of our lakes, like don't really necessarily allow. A lot of them are, I think, are probably too shallow, and they'll get super finicky with that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So fishing with a Vexilar,
Mm-hmm.
and what's nice with a live scope is you can see how they react, and you can see, all right, we're
Mm-hmm.
trying this bait, and they're just like paying no mind to it. Let's throw something else at them, and it's like
For sure.
you try 3, 4 different things, and there's no reaction, there's nothing. It's like okay, let's move on.
Yeah,
So you kind of feel like okay, like now we're not wasting our time. Let's just get on fish. Let's keep trying. Like
for sure. I'm no fishing expert. I love to fish. I love to catch fish, but I have for some reason let my mind just like be so stumped with why the crappie shut off. Like I don't understand. There was multiple trips in a row where it was non-stop. I could not keep up and then the next night I go out and not a single bite. I'm like, the weather didn't do a hard change.
well, I mean, we kind of pushed into where it was pretty cold.
We got snow that night.
Well, yeah, there was a little bit of snow, and now it's like moving forward here. Um, it's kind of warming up.
But wouldn't a warm up help? See, that's where I'm like, oh my gosh, why? Like, how can I have such
think it's
consistent
well,
nights and then the next night, literally a day later,
I
they're
think it's a
just
sudden change. If it's consistently cold for 3 or 4 days, like they're acclimated and they're used to it, and all of a sudden there's a spike in temperature.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I think that, and it can go one or two ways. Like it, to be honest, open water like that can be a determining factor to get a bite sometimes.
I know.
Is a
The
little bit
warm up.
a little bit of temperature change in the water. And I don't necessarily per se think the temperature of the water changes too much in the
I
winter, but
don't pay attention to the pressures.
and
Maybe I should. I'm
that
sure
probably could have probably what it was as well.
because
Like
we had that snow that night and I wonder if everything just kind of got thrown off.
yeah, what was the majors and the minors and everything? I mean, taking a look at the moon
We
phases
watch
and stuff.
those a lot when it comes to musky fishing, but I think
It,
we
it,
really need to pay attention
if
year round.
if it affects them, it affects everything.
For sure.
Because I mean, okay, let's look at it like there's supposed to be decent quality northern out here yet. I mean, as a kid, there were giants out there. There were muskie out there. So it's like okay, now moon phase. If you factor in moon phase, and this is supposed to be a major, and your game fish are going crazy feeding, like of course your panfish are gonna shut off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're gonna be running around and trying to stay. So it's kind of a catch-22, but even last weekend, like we took a few hours, like an afternoon, and went and tried a lake that I had really good success on when I was younger, and nothing.
I caught 5.
A nice bass.
It was fun. I don't care who you
And
are.
I even talked to my uncle about that, and I said there was probably like a dozen other people out there. I said they were catching fish, but I'm like, it just didn't seem like the quality was there. And that's a lake that we had to hoof into when I was young. It was a goat trail to get in there. It was park on a national forest, and it was walk a private boundary line down in the lake all the way across the lake to where the fishing was good to get on a flat and stuff. And we did really, really well consistently out there. And for whatever reason, they put a freaking highway in there from a town road.
Yeah, it's going to be overfished now.
You know, practically a boat landing right to the edge of the lake and on the good end of the lake.
Yeah, where everyone wants
So
to fish.
progressively out the, over the years, I think it's just gotten a ton of pressure and it's probably been somewhat overfished again. And which is a bummer. And I get it. I understand it to a certain extent too, but those were the good lakes when I was growing up. Were the ones that were you're bouncing your head off the ceiling, you're going in off a highway and like that lake is probably 3-4 miles back up in there.
Yeah.
Now just imagine like the shortcut, quote unquote shortcut that we took in there. Like that was the best road that would have been in there ever when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that just makes me think of Glade. Like you can't get a boat in there. Everyone fished from shore. And growing up, we had amazing fishing in there. There's some big bass, big crappie, big bluegill in that lake, but you can't fish it the way that you want to. And Mom's been in the kayak multiple times. I have too.
Kayak or electric motor only.
But that boat landing is so narrow, you can't get much of a boat in there at all.
You could probably get our duck boat in there.
Are you crazy?
Maybe
if we ran the tires off the bank.
But we've done worse.
We have a mud motor. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little bit worried with the fish shutting off, but maybe in the next couple of days they'll kind of get back to normal and maybe they'll want to bite in the morning and we'll have some luck. But
yeah, I mean,
I definitely want some more people. I need more than 3 lines.
Yeah, we'll kind of see. I'll see what kind of help there is because kind of jumping back on the department, I feel like I should help a little bit there. If they don't have a ton of help, then I'll probably float back and forth. I mean, it is volunteer after all. So, I mean, either way, I'll probably, see if there's anything I can do there. But then I would like to fish.
Yeah, Gar wants to fish on your birthday.
Friday?
He said he's thinking about coming up, wants to know if we can fish. I told him I was off at 1:30.
Don't know where.
I don't either. He wants crappie. I told him to get John's spot out of my dad.
Good luck. They're up north somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if they're
Yeah, they are.
Up on Catfish or 4 Mile or something in 3 Lakes, but
I don't know.
probably shouldn't be name dropping a bunch of lakes.
Yeah.
But,
well, if you figure it out, let us know because we haven't been on them.
yeah.
Just ideas to try, guys.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. We got a lot of fun and exciting things coming. But yeah, you touched on it. It's my birthday Friday.
Yay.
So my golden.
Oh, I can't believe that.
Which is strange.
That's all right. We'll just
There's
fish and get dinner.
There's not many golden 30. Is January the only month with 31 days?
Oh, gosh, no, Jimmy. December.
Oh, yeah. Blonde moment. There's quite a few.
It's all right. We're leaving that in there. You better not cut it out. I'm not the only one that has those. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing some fishing. I've just been really happy being out there. Even when they weren't biting, I was just, it brings me so much peace just to be out there.
Well, and like you touched on it with having the right amount of ice now has definitely helped to be able to just drive out there. And, your vehicle's been good because we don't have a ton of snow right now.
I could drive.
Honestly, I could probably bring my truck out.
Jaden brought his out, but I know you have a bigger truck.
Yeah, I mean, I got a 3/4 ton, and I know my Uncle Randy's been running around on lakes, and he's got a fuel tank and a toolbox and everything in the back of his truck that's probably plumb full of stuff, so his truck's definitely weighing more than mine. Big brush guard on it and stuff, so.
I measured like 15.
Yeah, we're getting to the point. I'd love to see like 18 to feel safe for my truck.
Well, I was right by the aerator. I don't know.
Yeah, that probably has a factor, but it'd be worth a look, and I'll see. I mean, I don't know. I'll be shocked to see what kind of turnout there's going to be.
So
in years past, the lake was full from one end to the other. And then there's obviously a taper off, and we'll see.
The lady at the store said there's so many prizes again this year.
Yeah, because the Lake Association puts it on. They just host it at the bar here. And it sounds like their punch board and stuff for Friday night's really, really nice.
Good.
So we probably won't be around, but whatever.
So I have this thought that keeps popping into my head. Uh-oh.
You're good.
Oh. That look was like... So do you think the fish are, like, staying right by that aerator?
I mean, you would consider that factor because that's made of most oxygenated water, correct?
Because I really want to bring my big rod out there and cast into it and see what
Oh,
happens.
Jesus. You'll get in trouble.
Why?
Because
Is that illegal?
it's not illegal, but you're going to have people out there floating around, and if you get close to that
I'm
thing,
not going to do it during the Derby, Jimmy.
It's a liability.
I'll stay behind the flags.
Yeah. And what happens if you hook one on? How are you going to get
You'll
over?
just pull it up over the ice.
Oh, the ice edge?
Yeah, it'll be
It's not going
fine.
to want to go under or anything and maybe break your line off.
Well, what if it does? Okay, come on, it would be a blast.
Speaking of that, though, when was that I tried to go up and set everything up by myself?
Oh, good Lord, Jimmy.
It was a
You were gone for
merganser.
like 3 hours and
It
you didn't
was-
even get anything done. I'm sorry. I love you. I know it was windy.
You've tried it by yourself and you've walked out there. How was it?
I did it.
By yourself. There was no obligation to come back to get anybody. And you sent me Snapchats drenched in sweat and whining and crying that it was so hard. And
I did not whine and cry. I was out of shape. Anywho,
it was not.
did I call you Jimmy in this podcast yet?
Probably. But it was not 3 hours.
I don't know. I just felt like it was forever, probably because I was excited.
It
But
was
anyway,
like
back to your point.
Yeah, it was a good hour. But yeah, back to my point. There was a damn merganser in there.
What the hell?
I got footage of it.
Do you want to know something really stupid? Can I add a blonde moment?
Let's hear it. I'm sure
People are not going to think that we're very smart people after this episode. So you were talking about the merganser, where the aerator was. The first time I walked out there by myself, I was like, what's in there? I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of otters. It's the freaking bubbles. I had my phone out.
All right, guys.
Hit
this is
record.
episode 5.
I hit record, zoomed in, and I was like, you dumbass.
All right. So on that note, I think we're gonna wrap things up.
No, we're not. This is good. This is funny shit.
Oh,
It's fine.
Lord.
How am I supposed to know anything? Okay.
How do you think it? What
I've
do you-
never been around one.
So what do you think an aerator is?
Bubbles, clearly. I thought it was fucking otters playing in the water. God, I'm an idiot. I know I'm an idiot. But I just thought I needed to add a blonde moment to this for myself to even you out. Make you not feel so bad.
Even you saying an aerator is bubbles is.
It makes bubbles.
So there's a pump on the shore, and they're pushing air.
Yes, bubbles.
Okay, sure, but that's like an answer Avery would give us.
I am a child.
Majority of the time. Welcome to our lives.
Welcome to the Trophy Life podcast.
This is the life, guys.
This is it.
This is what I deal with.
Hey, I deal with you too.
Yeah, it's not half bad.
No, we got to keep our life entertaining.
Yeah, I think it's important to be a little silly and a little stupid sometimes.
Yes, you have to be. You have to keep it fun. Like I said yesterday, make me food, make me laugh, and kiss me. And I will be a happy camper. But, yeah, we have so much to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about next weekend for sure. It'd be really good to connect. I mean, we briefly met Sarah at the Oshkosh.
Very
Expo.
briefly.
It's always strange bumping into people and wanting to like sit there and conversate and get to know somebody and stuff, especially at an expo, just because it's like the majority of them would love it to just connect, but then they're also, depending on what position they hold and what they're doing, they're kind of obligated to do it a little bit with everybody.
Yeah. And
Because I've been in a situation where all of a sudden I'm like 10 minutes deep into a conversation, I turn around, there's like other people waiting to talk. And it's
I
like,
know.
Oh, shit, okay,
That's what
I'm
I
sorry.
don't like to do.
Yeah.
Is like there's people there. I don't ever know how to say this because I know conversations are really important and building relationships is very important. But there are people there that are out there to buy things. And if I'm just there to have a conversation with you, like I'm taking from your company, I'll do a quick hi. There's people in the booth. I know you have work to do. Nice talking to you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll
Like-
connect. I just wanted to introduce myself. We'll
That's
connect
why
for sure at
I'm
some
not
other-
one to like take up a booth and have a conversation for an hour when I know people are there for a different purpose. And I know that they're there to help their company, not just chat with friends. And I just try to remain respectful and keep in mind what they're doing.
Yeah, and that's like, you'll probably be able to experience it
I
at
was just gonna
NWTF
say that.
it was an interesting deal to be able to do that at Delta. I know I've mentioned it quite a few times, but kind of to go that route of just honestly, because Delta was at the size where you could kind of just make laps, like you could see everything in a day. So it's like the first day, just kind of go be personable, have a good conversation, just be interactive and stuff, and then like at the end, before the day wraps up, go run back in there quick.
Yeah.
You know, do you guys need anything? Snap a few photos, you know what I mean, and then like run back to the hotel and edit a few photos, send them off right away.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, hey, just took a few photos, today. Here's a few for you, because they always like to recap,
Oh, yeah.
and throw things up on socials and stuff.
Yeah, but I think if...
So, but then to just periodically just kind of jump back in, and you can kind of just continue to build on that conversation that you started, and you're not like taking up 15 minutes at once. You're kind of taking up a few minutes sporadically, you know what I mean? And then it's also, you kind of start to be a little bit more personal, and they're going to remember you. I feel like it's a little bit harder for people to sit and have a conversation with somebody for 10 minutes, and then that's the last engagement that you have for them for a year.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a deal, or at all. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Whatever it is that way. And then to think that they're going to remember me, to think that they're going to reach out. To where if I like bump in that booth like for a couple minutes, 2 or 3 times a day over the course of a weekend, like now it's a familiar face in the booth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not just one of many.
Yeah.
So there's a definite tactic to
I
doing
kind
that.
of want to, like, go against what I just said, because I think if I was in the booth, I'd love conversation. Like, come have a conversation with me, and maybe it is best to bump in every...
There's a fine line for sure. There's a fine line.
and I'm sure we're overthinking it, but...
Yeah, and I think it's just honestly the simple thing of just being aware of your surroundings a little bit. Like if it's not super busy, take your time.
Yeah, what's they say, like, you should take a potential employee to lunch. I don't know if you've heard this. This might... I promise it's related. Oh my gosh. Okay, jerk. Take a potential client to lunch, and you'll get to know them very, very well just based on like how they interact with the waitress, how long they take to order. Like if they're inconveniencing someone and not even realizing that, like that's where I'm going with the expo thing, is like if you're taking up someone's entire morning and there's a booth full of people, like you can kind of get the vibe about that person, and if you want to work with them, or if they have,
Yeah,
I
there's
was gonna say, a big head, or
there's a fine line of just being respectful.
aware and respectful.
Being respectful of people's time and realizing, yes, an expo is built on connection, but it's also built to sell and do those things and brand awareness, and like there's a million reasons of why companies show up and do that, and they also have a ton of money and time invested in it themselves.
I know.
But if they just have one person in here taking up all the time, like occupying the people who should be doing other things as well, it's kind of, you know what I mean? And that's what I mean by like having an understanding of, the position that people are in, and it's not wrong to sit and have a conversation.
No.
And then if you're just aware of your surroundings, to know that kind of what's going on, that there's actually a few minutes here we can sit and chit chat. We can, if you notice things slow down and you really want to go continue a conversation or connect a little bit more with somebody in particular, go back.
Yeah.
You can just tell them like, hey, I just noticed it was a little bit slower right now. I wanted to come back and just chit chat a little bit more.
Yeah. I think just saying that out loud is really good. I'm a little bit I'm a little bit hesitant because I would love to have a lot of conversations in booths, but I want to do it to build a relationship, or like to get to know each other rather than like buying the product. Like I don't want to be conned into buying something just because I would love to have a conversation with that person, and like I love your company, I love that, but I'm not here to purchase this today. Or
well, you don't even need to say any of that.
Well, I
because
wouldn't say it, but that's what keeps me
Well,
out of the booth.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that then, because obviously, like a lot of people's goal is to persuade you to buy something.
Sales.
Where I think going in with the forefront of like, you know what, yeah, I would probably buy this product, and I think that's what honestly really sets, from my standpoint, but even like somebody like you who's wanting to be ambitious to like jump on some pro staffs and work with companies on that front, is to approach companies that we would actually buy a product that they're selling.
Yeah.
Because, or honestly, like companies that you already have, because that's an easier conversation.
Sure.
So like I see Prodigy's going to be there. we could easily jump into that booth and have a conversation with Corey or any of the guys that are there because we have one already. And we can talk about the improvements of their boats. We can talk about different changes that they've done. We can talk about the accident we just had and what our plans are moving forward and different things that way.
New options, because it's been a while.
Or you jump into the Lucky Duck booth and, you can chit chat with Luke and them, and because that's all we run for motion. Or you can go into a booth that sells calls and you have one.
Yeah.
You mean, so it takes that pressure off of buying one because you already have one.
For sure.
But it also brings you up a level to compared to a lot of other people that are already in the booth that are thinking about buying one.
Don't know, yeah.
You know what I mean? To where like, oh, this person already has one. That's a
already supports us.
Yeah, that's a customer. You know what I mean? That's a repeat customer. So I think just having those kind of conversations. Now, it's not wrong at all to go introduce yourself to companies that you've seen but have never been able to have a conversation, or you've been wanting to, or there's a product on the market that I've seen and really thinking about going and buying it. I want to go take a look.
Yeah.
And you can have those conversations. You just tell them, like, if they ask you what you're doing or what you're looking for or something, you could just say like, hey, I've been seeing this floating around.
Yeah,
really wanted to take a look at it, see if it's something that could fit me.
The company that came to mind was at Game Fair. I think they changed their name, but High and Dry, Hella Dry. I don't know what they are right now.
Hella Dry, yeah.
But we went into that booth because we loved their product. We didn't know who they were. We didn't know the guys. I don't believe.
No, and I got
I
got to be super personable with them at Delta too, and they remember me from Game Fair.
Yeah.
So
I love their stuff.
Yeah, they're a pretty cool company. And from my forefront, I know they said to send over some of my stuff, and I'll probably touch base with them again if they're going to be down there. I don't know if they're going to be at NWTF or not. I kind of went through the exhibitor list and just kind of wrote down ones that I'd like to hit, and there's quite a few. But I know that's like a company, they have a bunch of people that work for them.
For sure.
So it's just like, am I adding my name to the list? But it's also one of those things of like, again, being ambitious and throwing my hat in the ring because maybe my stuff's a little bit better.
We use it.
Yeah, that too.
Consistently. Like, you have content with it just because it's what we're using.
So you're talking their Mars stand. I know, like, specifically outside of that, like, their tried and true thing is their bags.
Their backpack. Right?
Yeah, yeah. Which kind of competes with Yeti. And, of course, I have a Yeti. So, I mean, it's like, I would love to go take a look at it. I think those style bags would be absolutely phenomenal for a camera bag, just to have that waterproof ability. The problem is the lids don't open fully, or, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of just splits in half, and you gotta, like, kind of reach in there and stuff. And I use my Yeti bag when it's super crappy out to make sure things are waterproof. To where I wish a company, and if anyone is listening, it'd be nice to have that, like, Yeti or Hella Dry style bag that's waterproof like that with the big, zipper and stuff, but that the zipper runs the entire way so that you can flip that thing entirely open. And honestly, then, like, I could set a couple camera cubes in there. I could put an organizer in there because it's accessibility. Like, bar none, I feel like from a camera bag standpoint, like, I feel like that's one of the biggest deals. Durability, and especially with what we do with waterproof, like weatherproof, is definitely important. But even if it does that, but the accessibility sucks, it's like, I'm gonna look for a different option. Because you need to get at your stuff quick and, like, fast.
Yeah, you don't want to be digging to the bottom trying to find,
pulling things out to get at something else. And I think that's what sets, like, a good bag apart, is, like, just the accessibility. It opens and lays flat. Like, everything is right there. I'm not taking things out to get at something else.
Yeah.
Because in the heat of the moment, if you have that style bag, like, I've used my Yeti bag, and it's like pre-planning going out in the morning. I want things that I know I'm going to need right at the top. Or I have that little exterior, like, waterproof bag that I put on the front that I can put, like, my extra batteries and filters and different stuff that way there that I know, like, are easily accessible. But it's like, throughout the course of the hunt, if you're swapping lenses and doing stuff, at the end of the hunt, everything's just thrown in there.
Yeah.
So at some point within the hunt, it's a mess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just to have that ability to just things open and close, and you just put it right back where it was. You know what I mean? You're trying to stay organized throughout.
On that staying organized front, I'm sorry, I'm going to switch it a little bit. Those big Yeti boxes are nice. I know that we have the smaller one. I really want the bigger one. I feel like we could use that so much more. Like what we have, it's tight, but I feel like we could use a
The
little
next-
bit more space.
Yeah, I like that next size up even.
Those are so nice. And I know they're kind of a bitch to carry around, but we're not moving them too far.
They're not terrible, and I do agree, because honestly, if we did have the bigger one, like, it would probably limit us with a backpack.
Yeah, we wouldn't.
You know what I mean? Like, I would have my camera bag, and that would probably be about it.
Yeah,
I mean, and then they're waterproof, so like literally everything can go in there.
for sure.
You know, our hearing protection, our calls, all of our shells.
Everything.
You know, all the electronics, extra batteries, our lights. I mean, basically what we do now, but we just jam pack everything.
I know. I want to look at some organization stuff. I don't know what's all going to be at NWTF. I know that's more on the hunting front, correct? There's not fishing.
Yeah, there's not going to
Which,
be.
fine.
No,
That's fine. But just staying organized, I think that's some stuff that I really want to look at.
We'll have to pay attention. I know there's some expos coming up, like Wisconsin and stuff, and I don't know about Minnesota, but we've never really dipped our toes in summer fishing stuff.
No.
Which is something we could definitely pay attention to. Kind of just see what's around, and I mean, it's a good opportunity for both of us to just go market and dip our toes and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, we do a ton of summer fishing, but we've just never hit the expos.
No, because we're always fishing.
Yeah, they need to do that when it's not fishing season. I don't
Which
know.
they might.
when.
Like, I don't know when iCast is, but iCast is kind of strange. Like, you need to get a media pass and stuff to be able to go take pictures, because it's for like the industry professionals.
When is the Wisconsin hunting and fishing in Green Bay? I think that's the weekend after
I
NWTF.
think it's coming up, yeah.
But man, that's really gone downhill.
I mean, the rec center's newer, the complex and stuff they have there. I mean, it's something that might be worth a run
I
down
think
to.
last time we went, we were like not very happy. There wasn't a lot.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It was
but
pretty
that's
small.
an easy show to go with Avery and just
Oh yeah.
check it out too. I don't know. We'll make it around, and I feel like again, we just have a lot of things to look forward to, and I feel like our winter is actually pretty busy this year.
I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, we're fishing, but
I would.
we have plans where typically winter's just kind of winter, but
I know.
this is different because I'm also not in the woods, and I really wasn't last year, but like there was just this changing career paths of, like, you know what I mean, like figuring out what's next, and
Yeah.
you know, pushing into that and trying to develop relationships, and you know, switching from one thing to another that are like nearly polar opposites.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and trying to learn the ropes and step into that was, you know, something that was taking time, and so I feel like if we had opportunities to do anything, we were just trying to like distance ourselves from the stress.
Yeah.
So I mean, we took our trip to Oklahoma and stuff, but other than that, like,
No, I mean, you see the people that take one trip over spring break. Otherwise, it's seasonal depression. Stay inside. There's nothing to do. It's too cold.
Last year was shitty because there was no winter. I don't even we ice fished like maybe 3 or 4 times, and that's just the only availability we had because of the ice conditions were bad.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, even taking a 4-wheeler out was kind of like
Sketchy, yeah.
But yeah,
Is that it?
I feel like we hit on a lot, and we're kind of right at that hour 15 again.
All right.
I mean, yeah, we'll probably recap next time, kind of recap what we did, I'm sure, this coming weekend.
Yeah.
And
I hope you guys like the new setup.
yeah, so if anybody is into viewing podcasts, check us out on YouTube.
Oh. I never think to say that. Yeah, we're on YouTube, guys.
Yeah, so I know it's kind of a popular thing, but now we've really elevated things, and we kind of got a bit of a logo done up, and having the multicam version will be a little bit more interactive and engaging that way. But otherwise, audio, like, we're everywhere.
Yes.
Spotify and iTunes are probably the best places. I think there's some other platforms that we're also on. I just use a hosting platform and it pushes it out to everywhere. But on that, like, just reviews are huge.
Yeah.
So if you would kindly leave a review.
We love the messages.
Yeah.
Love the messages.
Yeah,
but throw that onto a review. We'd really appreciate it.
A review helps, definitely on iTunes. Leave some comments, be engaging, give us some topics.
Yeah, I would love that.
You know, if you have any questions or things that you'd like to dive in or get to know a little bit more about us, anything in particular. I know there's a lot of different topics, and you know, I think as this grows and it evolves, we'll probably get even a little bit more personable. You know, like we kind of touched upon it, but I feel like there's some good things to talk about with losing dad. Obviously a very tough subject, and it kind of was like the pivotal, like changing moment in my life to kind of change what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Yeah, we can definitely touch on all of that.
So that'd be a good thing probably to talk about, and, you know, just family and, you know, the growing pains of life and everything that way. But, you know, we try to keep it kind of on brand of, you know, what the meat and potatoes of this are going to be. But
Yeah, it's going to be seasonal, but I think we're going to have life kind of mixed all into it.
yeah, and I feel like we kind of touch base and touched on it in one sense or the other, pretty much every episode. You know, and we can mix other passions and stuff in too. Like I know we talked a little bit about, you know, health and fitness and getting into the gym and stuff, and that's kind of a big passion of mine as well. You know, and it goes kind of in waves of like I'm head to toe in it, and then there's some it's like, okay, I'm just in the, like right now I can only go a couple days a week or,
Yep.
you know, a handful of times a month. Like I need to do other things to try to stay on par with that. But,
For sure.
you know, because I'm actually kind of affiliated with First Form.
First Form Outdoors.
Well, just,
too.
yeah, that's
Did some
kind of
stuff
their
with them.
pro staff branding, which would be super cool to push for. And that's what kind of led me to applying for that actually last year, and then being persuaded to sign up for their Legionnaire program. So if anybody's out there and wants to talk health, fitness, food, diet,
We're into it.
lifting, all that kind of stuff, that's probably something that honestly wouldn't hurt to just, even though we don't touch a ton on it, but different links, affiliate links and stuff like that to leave in the different, you know, descriptions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, subscribe, all the things.
Share with a friend.
It'd be super helpful, super appreciative. I feel like we're growing pretty decently, like pretty quick. And there's been a lot of old friends and stuff that have even reached out and connected. Like
It's been really good.
Jimmy reached out to me that his brother works with the kid that I went to high school with, and then
Really?
Danny actually reached out to me. It's been years, you know, down in Green Bay, I believe there, and so it's kind of cool that, you know, some old friends, people that I used to hang around with all the damn time.
Yeah, some
know,
of
reaching out
my
and-
some of my older clientele are like telling me that they like it. I'm like, you listen? Thank you so much.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool, and you know, we're just rolling with the punches.
Yep.
So really no goal in mind of like where we need it to go, and of course we have ideas of where we want it to go, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
So steady with jerks, so my dad would say.
Really?
Yep.
I've never heard that.
Yep.
That's
So
funny.
there's your wisdom of episode 5.
Thanks, Billy.
Yep. Steady with jerks. So just progress moving forward.
Yep.
All right.
All
Love
right.
you.
Until next time. Love you.